So good morning, guys. So what do we do when we have our hives all ready, waiting for our nukes, but nothing to do? Well, with the pandemic, everyone has been stuck at home. The sun's finally coming out, and I've been doing a lot of thinking. You know, things are expensive now, money's really tight, and I remember my grandmother used to talk about victory gardens back in the Northeast where I grew up. Everyone had a victory garden during World War II. They had their own little garden to try to reduce the cost on the economy and grow their own food. So I really don't have that big of a yard, but I've decided to make my own version of a victory garden. And in the comment section, I'll list all the links of where I got my stuff and where it was, a little bit of a review, and how much it was. So what I've decided to grow is squash, zucchini, asparagus, potatoes, and green beans. So for the asparagus and potatoes, I got these bags. These are 30-gallon bags, and one thing I learned real quick, when you buy this stuff, you need to be able to convert, because that's in cubic gallons. The potting mix is in cubic liters. The cow manure is in in pounds rather, and the sand is in weight as well. So everything is different, so you need to know how much of everything you need. So what I did is I figured out that the topsoil I got here came in 40-pound bags, and I did the calculation, and what I need is 4 cubic feet. So in each one of these I have 4 bags, and it was about a little under $2 a bag for the base soil in the bags. Then I've got some fertilizer potting mix and cow manure for the potatoes, and I'll mix some in here too, but the asparagus needs sand. So what I'm gonna do is, when I start doing this, I'm gonna put a tripod up and do a time lapse, show you what I did for each plant and how I started it off. And hopefully this might help give someone an idea on how you can do it in your backyard. Now you can see in my yard, things are just starting to grow up, but I don't have that big of a yard. I've got flower beds and pollinating plants everywhere for the bees, but really no place for vegetables. The zucchini and summer squash, I'm actually going to put hooks up here and hang those plastic plants and have the squash hang like cucumbers. And the green beans are going to be in smaller pots. I think they're 5-gallon bag pots. So enjoy the film. If there's any questions or comments, please feel free to put in something in the comments. And I know this really isn't beekeeping, but hit the subscribe, the like, and hopefully this will help somebody learn how to, you know, grow some vegetables at home with little expense, and probably save you money in the long run at the supermarket. So enjoy. Okay, asparagus, how to prepare it. They like a sandy soil, the base, and like drainage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some sand and mix it with the topsoil on the top of the bag, place the asparagus root, and then cover it with some potting soil and give it a good watering. Now what we did was we ordered some asparagus online and some strawberries. The strawberries I'll show you later, they're really taking off. But the asparagus root is nothing more than a base root and a node. Now strawberry nodes you keep above the ground. Asparagus, you need to keep them below the ground, because if you keep them above in the fall and it gets cold, it'll die. So you want them about 2 inches below. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to replace the camera so I can use both my hands, and you'll see how we're going to start the asparagus. Okay, since I only have one hand, I'm just gonna show you what I'm gonna do and then show you the end result. Okay, so I have the 3 30-pound bags with 4 cubic feet of topsoil in it. What I'm going to do to prepare them for the potatoes is this potting mix plus fertilizer is almost the perfect fertilizer. Potatoes want 10-10-10, and I think this is 10-6-8. So adding a little cow manure to it brings it to where they want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix the potting soil and cow manure in with the top, get it ready for the potatoes, and then I'll show you what we have to do to the potatoes before we plant them. Okay guys, it's been a couple of days, had to wait for the potatoes to get ready, but I want to finish up with what we need to do to the asparagus and how we plant the potatoes. So let's go over to the asparagus. So if you remember, we put the dirt on it, covered it up, and now what we're going to do is just put a little bit of, not much, just to keep the moisture in and the weeds down. All right, maybe an inch of straw. Okay, and I'm doing this with one hand, so we'll see how well this comes out. All right, so you can use straw, you can use grass clippings, mulch, but I prefer the straw. Now we'll come over here to our water wand, and we just want to make sure we give a good watering. Now I've already done this 2 days ago, and I checked the dirt today and needs another good washing out. And what you want to do is you want to give it enough water so you start seeing it weep out of the sides of the bag. And you'll see how the beads are starting to come out of the bag. You want to, the asparagus root was put down about 2-3 inches, so that's where you want to see at least the water getting to. Okay. And what the straw will do is once it starts getting warm, like today, it was about 52 this morning, and it's supposed to get up into the 70s. So you want your container to have at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight a day. And the way you tell that you have enough water is each morning, put your finger into the soil. You don't want it to be wet, but you do want it to be moist. If it feels dry, we give it some water. If it feels wet, we don't. And the other good thing about the straw on top is when you're applying the water, you're not disturbing the soil underneath. There. Okay. Now let's move on to the potatoes. Now what I did was, I had some seed potatoes And give you an example. We had them at least one eye on each chunk, and we cut it into pieces, and then you wait for the potato to have like a callus or a scale over. You don't want to put them in wet because that will promote rot and fungus. Okay, now the difference in these bags from the others is you'll notice that I have about 3 to 6 inches of bag left, because we're going to fill this up in levels. You'll see that each potato has the eyes pointing up the best we can. This one has several eyes, and they're all laid into the soil like this. Okay, and this bag is a 30 gallon bag, and it's about 24 to 26 inches across. So you don't want to put too many in there, but what I'm doing is I'm putting 4, and the lucky one in the middle is 5, in case one of them doesn't sprout. If it doesn't sprout, we can reposition it. If it does sprout, it won't be too crowded. So we'll put a couple inches of dirt over this, wait for them to sprout up. When the plant gets to be about 3 to 6 inches, we will mound over or bury it again up into the first leaf, and we'll do this twice. And that just gives you more plant under the ground to make potatoes. Okay, so again, we're doing this one-handed here. So all we want to do is cover the potatoes, like I said, with about 1 inch or 2 of soil. Okay, and make sure it's not to stick the potatoes, but make sure it's nice and flat and even. That's all it takes. Okay, and we'll do this for the other 2. I'll be right back with you once I get it done. Okay, we're done. So there's the first one we did on the video. I've completed the other 2. So now what we're going to do is going to give them a initial good soaking. Make sure that the water gets all the way down to the potato. Now, if you remember right, this potting soil in here is a 10-6-8, which is almost where potatoes they need a 10-10-10. So once they get the sprouting out again, I'm going to probably put some backfill with some cow manure, which will add to it, and also some 10-10-10 fertilizer I'll sprinkle on top before I make the next level, and that will be time released fertilizer. Now what you can do with containers or pots or however you're doing your potatoes throughout the season, once they flower, once the plant flowers, that means there's potatoes down there. So you can reach your hand into the soil and pull out a couple of potatoes as you go. The key to final harvest is when the plant all yellows and starts to die back. Then you can pull the container on its side and pull each plant up and harvest your potatoes. Now when you take your potatoes inside, don't water them, don't wash them. You want to just brush them off and then put them in a basket or a paper bag you get from the supermarket, and store them in a cool, dark place, like your basement or your garage, depending on the time of year. So there's our potatoes ready for sprouting. So hopefully you've learned a little bit about our victory garden that we're starting. I'll come back with a short video when I do my squash. They're not ready to put out yet. It's still a little bit chilly. Probably another couple of weeks and we'll put them out, and we're gonna do them from a hanging pot. So until then, hit subscribe and ring the little bell, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye now.